Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
What up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. Let's start with my schedule, as always. I just had it and I lost it. Hold on. Where's my schedule at? Where'd it go? There it is. All right. This weekend, I am in Orlando, Florida on Friday. That would be April 28th. And then on Saturday, April 29th, I'm in Westbury, New York at the Flag Star at Westbury Music Festival or something. So anyways, just my website, GaryOwen.live, has all my tour dates with the ticket links on Ticketmaster, AXS, and all that stuff. So that's where I'm at this weekend. The next weekend, so I'm sorry, that's March 28th and 29th. Dang, I just skipped over a month. March 28th, this Friday, I'm in Orlando. Saturday, I'm in Westbury, New York at the Flag Star Westbury Music Festival. And then we get into April. So April 3rd, I'm in Flushing, Michigan at the Signature Chop House. And then Friday, April 4th, I'm at the Cobb Energy Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And Saturday, April 5th, I'm at the Altria Theater in Richmond, VA. And then for 2 weeks, April 10th to the 13th and April 16th to the 19th, I'm in Houston at the Improv. New hometown, Houston, Texas, baby. And then April 25th, I'm in Hudson Valley, New York at the Paramount Theater. And then April 26th, I'm at the Parks Casino in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And then let's go ahead and get into May. First weekend of May, first time ever, Mike Drop Comedy Club in San Diego, California. That's going to be May 2nd to the 4th. And then May 9th, 10th, and 11th, I'm at Tommy T's in Pleasanton, California. And then May 16th through the 18th, I'm at LOL Comedy Club in San Antonio, Texas. And then Memorial Weekend, Friday, May 23rd through Sunday, May 25th, I'm at the Addison Improv, right outside of Dallas. And let's just finish it up. Then May 30th through June 1st, I'm at Stand Up Live in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's where I'll be. So I just got back from the Virgin Islands last weekend. Shouts out to everybody in St. Thomas and St. Croix that came to see me. A couple things I learned in the Virgin Islands. If you want to get any comedian ever goes to Virgin Islands, if you're not doing well, just yell out, "Mother skunt!" That's all you got to do. And the crowd goes nuts. I still don't know what it means. All I know is I got there, the dude driving me around goes, "Gary, if you say mother skunt, they go nuts." It's a cuss word. It's when you're angry. It's when you're excited. I guess it's the tone in which you say it. Mother skunt! That was my voice when I said it. And I just made up something. The crowd went bananas. And I went, all right, well, we got something here. And anytime I told something and I wanted to tag it, I said, "Mother skunt!" Crowd goes crazy. So that and St. Croix, they had us in an outdoor venue. There were so many bats like Batman, bats everywhere. And I'm like, yo, are those freaking bats? And they don't bother you. They don't bother you if you don't bother them. And I went, oh, okay. So my opener, T-Robe, was on stage, and I'm on the side of the stage watching him. And he had about 5 minutes left before he brought me up. And this bat flew down, bat shit comes down. And it missed T-Robe by a foot. And I was like, I guess that's why they get the term bat shit crazy, bat shit. I'm like, bats just be shitting. And now I know why that term has been a popular term. because it just dropped on, and it's so tiny, just doop. And I was like, did that bat? And then after the show, I told Tim, I said, yo, a bat almost shit on you. And he goes, I would have lost my shit. I go, you wouldn't have known. It's so small. We went on stage. I go, it was right there because they have my name, Gary Owen, on this like marquee. I said, it was right below the E. OWE. There it was. Little bat turd on the stage. I said, I knew I wasn't crazy. So all they can take from the Virgin Islands, mother skunt. And if you don't bother bats, they don't bother you. So, and then I asked the guys, like, most famous people, I guess Tim Duncan's from St. Croix. Derek Jeter's wife is from the Virgin Islands. There's a couple NBA players from the Virgin Islands. So, yeah, it's every Caribbean island has like things you'd be like, oh, this is what I like. I like this better than the other Caribbean islands. They all got those. So, yeah, they're all good. They all got their bad parts and their good parts, but yeah, it was a good time. So here's the thing about a podcast. When you're doing it, there's a couple different subjects I want to touch on today. And so I go over like, do I want to start with the heavy stuff and then go light, or start with light and then end with the heavy? So I'm going to start with the heavy stuff on this one. It's not so much about comedy, but just about life. So I don't know if you know the UFC fighter Cain Velasquez. So he just got sentenced to 5 years in prison for, if you don't know the story, I don't want to butcher it. So I just want to tell you facts about it. So the best write-up I saw was on MMAfighting.com. And you know what? I want to make sure I'm reading the right article on this, because when I read it, I go, it was perfectly written about the facts of the case. Everything. So let me just find it real quick. Yeah, here was judge nearly brought to tears during Cain Velasquez's sentencing. This is a tragic case. So, here's what the article says. So I can give you my opinion on stuff, and I'm sure most people are going to agree with how I feel about this case. Judge Arthur Bocanegra was nearly brought to tears while issuing a 5-year prison sentence to ex-UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez in a Santa Clara County courthouse on Monday. According to numerous reports, the judge got choked up addressing Velasquez in the courtroom after he pleaded no contest to attempted murder and other various charges related to his arrest in 2022 after going on an 11-mile high-speed chase pursuing a vehicle containing Harry Goulardet, a man accused of molesting the fighter's young son at a daycare owned by his mother. So this guy, Harry, molested Cain Velasquez's son at a daycare that his mother owned, and he was just working there or hanging out or helping out. Velasquez fired several rounds from a .40 caliber handgun during the car chase, but ultimately struck Harry's stepfather, Paul Bender, who sustained non-life-threatening injuries as a result. While prosecutors asked for a sentence of 30 years to life in prison, Bocanegra vehemently disagreed and stated that punishment comes in many ways, and one of the worst is forcing a father to not be present in his child's life. So that was the judge that said that to the prosecutors that were trying to get Cain Velasquez put away for 30 years to life. The judge weighed numerous factors when deciding on the sentence, and while Velasquez was the offender in the attempted murder case, he also considered his family as victims due to his young son's involvement in the child molestation allegations. Bocanegra also noted during sentencing that Velasquez had no prior criminal record and has since expressed remorse for his actions on that fateful day in February 2022. This is a tragic case, Bocanegra said in court. Mr. Velasquez is not a danger to public safety. This case is unique, and unlike any other case this court has presided over, the mitigating factors outweigh the aggravating factors. Velasquez initially spent 8 months behind bars following his arrest, with a separate judge denying his bail on numerous occasions. It was actually Bocanegra who eventually granted Velasquez his release on bail, along with conditions of house arrest, with the fighter wearing an ankle monitor and restrictions about work and travel. As a result of previous time spent in jail, along with house arrest, Velasquez gets credit for 1,283 days towards his sentence, which means he will likely spend less than 2 years in prison. Velasquez was allowed to spend a moment with his family after the sentencings, but then was remanded into custody. So let's just break this down. Basically, he got 5 years. He's already served some time, and he had another judge that kept denying his bail. So this new judge, God bless this new judge, by the way, said, you know, you can't have a lawless society. You can't have a society where guys, you know, hear a rumor and just start firing at people. I understand that. But like he said, the circumstances are unlike any they've seen. You have a father who finds out his son's being molested and goes after the guy molesting his son. Now, I will say, firing a gun into traffic is dangerous. There has to be some punishment there. What that is, I don't know. I will say, I don't think anybody has any remorse for the child molester or the stepfather for helping him. The only grace I give in this to the stepfather, and I'm glad he wasn't killed, is if I think you initially want to believe your kids. You want to believe if the stepson called him, and we don't know how long this guy's been his stepson. Did he raise him from 2 years old? Because that's your son. If you come into a kid's life anytime before like 6 years old, that's your son at that point. If he's telling him, I didn't do this, this crazy man's coming to get me, I don't know where this rumor started. Okay, I give a little grace to the stepdad in that, if that was the case. But any dad's going to agree with me. If you a dad and you find out someone's molesting your child, there's I don't know. There's no remorse there. There's no talking about it. There's no rehabilitation. I firmly believe child molesters will always be child molesters. I think that's just in them. I don't think any amount of time you put them away, as soon as they get back on the streets, if they have a chance to be with a little kid, they're going to do it. It's a disease that you cannot cure. And we've seen it time and time again. I used to do a joke, and it's a little joke, but it's a little serious. All child molesters, we should find a city or a part of this country or world that we don't really give a shit about. Build a fence, build a wall, and just drop them off. Good luck. And you got just child molesters with child molesters. And we're just leaving you alone. Figure it out. Because, so you got this guy, Cain Velasquez, former UFC champion, no police record. You can't find a UFC fighter who doesn't like this guy. There ain't friends and family members that say a bad word about him. You got UFC fighters, Conor McGregor, Colby Covington, Brock Lesnar, who Cain Velasquez beat. These guys made careers off talking shit, trolling other fighters, talking smack about them. It's part of their shtick. And even these guys don't say nothing bad about Cain Velasquez and never have. So I just think, I'm so glad the judge said that, because that's what I said. We got laws in this country, but you got to have common sense too. This guy ain't a threat to society. This guy ain't going to be out hurting anybody. And by the way, you molest my kid? Yeah, you're allowed to go a little crazy a little bit. There has to be some kind of punishment. I don't think it's jail for firing into traffic, even though if I caught a stray bullet, if I caught a little stray, and I go, oh, the guy was trying to kill the guy that molested his son. Hey, I ain't pressing charges. Let's heal up, baby. I'm like, I'll put it like this. I hope he doesn't have to serve the 2 years that he's got left on the 5-year sentence. I understand the judge. It sounds like the judge had his hands tied. I wonder if there was a wink deal behind closed doors. Like the prosecutor said, look, I'm going to go for 30. And when they met in Judge Chambers, I'm sure the defense team and the prosecuting team, I hope they came together, because I find it hard to believe any lawyer out there. And, lawyers, it's not the most honorable profession at times, that could read this case and read those circumstances and be like, yeah, I want to put this guy away for 30 years. I want to keep him away from his son longer. At any point, his son really needs his dad down. And one thing I'll say, you ain't got to look for a superhero. That son, I guarantee you, ain't looking no farther than his dad. I can't imagine what Cain Velasquez is going through, continues to go through. He's a strong dude. If anybody's seeing this and they get his information and can send me whatever I can send to put on his quote unquote books, I know he don't need it. But I think when you're in jail, like letters help. Anything to make his time easier. And I do think this will be the easiest jail sentence anyone's ever served, because you can't tell me whether you an inmate or a guard, you're going to be messing with this dude. One, you ain't going to win a fight against them. And there's prison rules, and I ain't been to prison. I know people have been to prison. I was a cop and a prison guard. Granted, it wasn't the Navy. We didn't have the violent cases, but we had other cases. But, every guard's looking out for them. Every prisoner's looking out for them. I don't care what gang affiliation you're with. This offense gets you immediate respect behind those walls. I guarantee you that. So this will be the easiest time as far as like him serving prison time. So, I know Trump can be very divisive. I know a lot of people hate him, a lot of people love him. If I could ask the president anything right now, it would be, could you let him out, please? I want people like Cain Velasquez walking the streets. I want people like Cain Velasquez in my neighborhood looking out, Yeah, if anybody has any information how we can post something for, I don't care, donations to the family, to anybody. And I don't know if he needs it or not, but it's like, I remember I had a conversation with Kevin Hart one time, and I was talking to him. I wasn't saying, I was kind of listening, but somebody says, bro, when is it enough? Because, Kev was in like 14 movies and had 16 endorsement deals, and the tour enough. And Kev was like, it's never enough. Never. And we was talking finances. And I think that holds true. Anything we can do to help, I want to help. So Cain Velasquez is a freaking hero, man. And if that prosecutor really was trying to get 30 years, I'm like, what are you doing? What is really the motive behind that? Yeah. So that was a heavy part. Like Cain Velasquez, man, that story, ever since it happened and he originally got locked up, I understand we can't just have the wild, wild west out here, but man, somebody molest your kid, yeah, you should have a little leeway. Hey, this week's podcast is brought to you by BlueChew. Now listen, when it's time to get busy, time to do the dirty, the nasty, time to have that one-on-one time with your lady, fellas. You want to deliver, right? You want to bring that. That's an amazing sound. You know when you're going to get that sound if you're handling business right. BlueChew is going to help you handle your business right. So listen up, fellas. This is a call to action. I want you to make your life easier. And I want it to be easier by getting harder, real hard, solid as a rock hard. And I want you to discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners. You get to try your first month of BlueChew free. All you got to do is visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And as always, we thank you, BlueChew, for sponsoring this podcast and doing what you do for males all across this earth. Yeah, I love BlueChew a lot. It's funny because not reminding me, but when I just said about being a prison guard, God, I remember we used to have, so when I was in the Navy, we would do, you go to A school, and A school is the police academy, which was in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base. Then after I graduated from Lackland, I ended up going to Anniston, Alabama, Fort McClellan for Brig School, which is you're getting certified to be a prison guard while you're in the Navy. And then on ships, we have little jails, little cells and stuff. The worst, though, is when you hit shore duty and a guy gets in trouble, and we have this thing called captain's mast, which is like court in the Navy. And a lot of times the captain would give guys the option of, you want 30 days restriction, which would be 30 days on the ship and you can't leave. You can't go nowhere. You're just stuck on the ship all day. Or you want 3 days bread and water. And 3 days bread and water, most guys took the 3 days bread and water and sometimes the captain wouldn't give you the option. He'd just be like 3 days bread and water. And when that happens, we'd have to drive the person to the brig. And this one was in Miramar, California. And so funny. We got you process them through, you drive your van on, it's a normal prison. You drive your van on, get the guy out, he's in cuffs, and on the way there, they'll be talking and stuff. And I was one of them dudes, I'd talk to you the whole drive. I just try to keep your mind off stuff. We talk sports or whatever, because even I knew I had to pick them up in 3 days. And you drop them off. This isn't funny, but it's funny. And you process them in, and this is what they don't tell you. You got the actual guys that are stationed at the brig. And then I'm just a transport, and I'm going back to the ship, and I'm going back to my command. But these guys got to take off all their clothes, like you see in the movie. And I only ever took one at a time. I never took 2 or 3 guys. It was usually one guy, bread and water. And they literally got to do everything you think. They got to spread their butt cheeks. They got to squat and cough, make sure they got nothing up their butt. They got to lift their ball sack up. It's like, I don't know why I signed up for this. And then after they get that, I got to stay with them. They put their clothes back on. They wear the same clothes for 3 days. Okay? They put them in a cell. The only thing in the cell is a sink, a toilet, no toilet seat, sink and a toilet, a cup, so they can always get water. And then there was just a little mattress with a blanket, little tiny pillow. And that was it. And they just slept on the floor on that little mattress for 3 days, and they drank the water, and the only thing they could read was the Bible. So you had a Bible, a cup. That's pretty much it. One little blanket, little mattress. I don't even think there was a sheet. It was like a mattress, a blanket, a pillow, and that's all you could do for 3 days. And I guess they got bread 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it was something, I don't know, think somebody told me it's like all the bread they could eat in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But that's it. I mean, I guess it's a good way to cleanse. You can like a 3-day cleanse. If I was there, I'd just been doing push-ups and sit-ups, walking. But that's 3 days by yourself. But I'll never forget when I would pick those guys up, we talk, right? When I had to go back and get them 3 days later, you'd barely hear a peep out of them on the way back to the ship. Because now they're like, man, this dude's seen every ounce of my body. I've seen parts of my body they probably haven't seen. And I'm not proud to say it. And it was awkward. And I said, I can't do this for a living my whole life. So, but a couple guys would always ask me to try to get them to stop at McDonald's or Burger King on the way home. Come on, man, can we stop and get something to eat? I was like, you paying? No, I gotta get you back to the ship, man. But every now and then you get those guys like, hey, come on, bro, can we stop real quick? No, we can't. So, all right, other thing I want to talk about, The Pit. Oh, yeah. HBO Max has the best shows. I don't know if you guys know that. So I talked about White Lotus last week, a couple weeks ago, but there's another show on there called The Pit, and it's an ER show with Noah Wyle as the lead. If you don't know Noah Wyle was on ER back in the day. When he was on ER, he was the young guy on there. Now, 30 years later, remember ER with George Clooney and Goose from Top Gun, Anthony Edwards? Not the basketball player, the actor. But now 30 years later, he's got his own show called The Pit on HBO Max. And I like it. It's different than the ER show I've done because it's over the course of one day. So it's just one day at an ER over I'm on episode 12, so it's a 12-hour shift. Now they're in a 13-hour shift because a lot of stuff happened. But if you haven't seen it, watch it. You know, it's what you think an ER show would be, but it's all about the acting, the storylines, and honestly the special effects. Like some of the stuff they do, they show a baby being born. It really looks like a real puss coming out, the crown of the baby. It's just good. It's just a good show, solid show. So as a guy that flies a lot, I download the episodes. I watch them on a plane. So if you get a chance, watch The Pit. So, and with that, another thing I want you to watch. This has been the talk of the internet the last week is Ashton Hall. He's the guy that gets up at 3:52 in the morning and then he dunks his face in the Saratoga water, which I've heard Saratoga water sales have gone through the roof since this Ashton Hall guy has been a social media influencer. Here, I know you've seen it. We're going to show some clips of it on here. But the guy wakes up at 3:52 in the morning and then he goes outside and does some push-ups and then he just sits for a minute and then he journals and then he puts on his gym clothes and brushes his teeth, puts his face in the ice water again. Then he jumps into a pool and he dives in the morning and then he goes and works out and then he reads the Bible and he journals again and then he gives motivational speeches and then some girl makes some breakfast out of nowhere. So here's my thing. It's great. It's nothing. It's so easy to make fun of people. So he's not giving out a negative message. He's not telling to kill people, rob people. It's motivating. I get it. So when I first saw it, I wanted to record the podcast and defend him and say, look, man, this guy's not doing nothing wrong. He's just trying to make people better by motivating. Is he a little cocky? Yeah, but have you seen his body? I'd be cocky too if I had that body. Is it realistic? No. You just can't do that every day. I'm sorry. And who's the girl cooking? Who's that chick? And then I don't believe he journals. And 3:52 in the morning? I know you're a social media influencer, you're trying to motivate, but that doesn't make me motivated. It reminds me when I joined the Navy. I didn't join the Army or Marines because they had the slogan, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. I go, why? I became a comedian so I could sleep. I've been offered numerous radio jobs, and every time I think about taking a radio job, I always think, fuck, I gotta get up early. I don't know how Tom Joyner, The Breakfast Club, and these syndicated morning shows, I don't know how they do it every day. I guess it becomes part of your routine, but I know that first couple months gotta be rough. So here's the one thing I didn't like about Ashton Hall. Let me make sure I find it. Because I kept thinking, man, he's doing something right. I'll put it like this. I'm not one to talk. He's doing something right. He's got as I post this, he's got 9.3 million followers. And he's got his shirt on in 3 posts. Yeah. And he's got that music when he runs. It's kind of sweet, I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of dope. This is the part I didn't like. I'm cool with the social media influencing. I'm cool with you trying to self-help people. But don't try to tell people this is what a real man does, and this is what makes you almost better than everybody else. Let me see where it is. Something about a real man. Let me find it.
In my dream, this is when I blew up. These are 3 things that.
Okay, that's not it. There's the water again.
To success. There's people who are already killed.
Okay, that's not it. Oh, he's playing tennis. Whoa.
We just hit 8 million followers on Instagram. God is good. Today we'll go over 3 things that was holding me back from getting views on.
Okay, that's not it. Let me find it. Hear it? You hear the music? Hold on. Listen. And there's more water.
Go from nothing to millions.
Okay, hold on.
We've grown over 15 million followers.
Hold on.
Crazy to say, within the last.
Hold on. I'll tell you what. His
So we just had 7 million followers.
Okay, I should have posted this sooner. Okay. Okay. Where is the post where he said 10 things that he does that other people don't do? Hold on. Then there's the subtle flex. He's in a Rolls Royce. Ooh. Hold on. Okay. 6.4 million. This is the one that blew him up. He posted that February 7th. Hold on. Okay, here it is. 10 things real men don't do. Tear women down. Cheat. Run from bills. Watch porn. Hook up. Neglect their hygiene. Lose their temper. Neglect their children. Envy his friends. Live a life without Jesus. That's the post. That's the post. I came on here to say, Ashton, we were hating on him for no reason. This guy's doing positive stuff. But please don't get on here and tell me you're better than me because of this. No man is perfect. We all fell short. But it is important to know and see the problem. With no conviction, you can't fix the problem. Set non-negotiable up and down by your word. Let's do better, fellas. So, real men don't do. Tear women down. Cheat. See, those 10 things are just... I don't even know what to say. Like, what world do these men live in that these 10 things are not negotiable that men don't do ever? I'm like, you took out half the NBA. You took out 90% of the politicians. I'm going, bruh. motivate, do your thing, Ashton. But that one, I was like, all right, what skeletons you got in your closet? Because that's what I'd be thinking of. When guys be acting like they're perfect, I'm like, what is going on behind closed doors? There was a guy, when I was going, my divorce first hit the fan. There was a guy, like his name was Derek Jackson or something like that. And he was like I don't know, he's like a relationship guru guy. But he acted, he's always telling men what to do with their women. He was allegedly happily married. And then all of a sudden it came out. He wasn't living that life at all. He was full of shit. And then he did some weird posts with his wife, and he wasn't living a man, because he was preaching the God stuff and what we're supposed to do with women and stuff. And then he wasn't. And the funniest part, there was a post. He was in his car. He was always posting in his car. He was at one of his side chicks' houses, getting ready to go in. So he made this post about keep God first, don't cheat, respect your woman, love your woman. And he was about to go in a side chick's house. Epic. I was like, so listen, this is all I got to say to Ashton. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't tell you what you're doing wrong, because you're not. You're doing everything right. It's just that post was a lot, and I'm sure I've made posts that were a lot, but that one, that was a lot, Ashton. Come on now. Let me see. Because he's really just taken off in the last couple years. Yeah. So he had 4 million on January 18th. So yeah. One thing I will say, he spent a lot of money on production. And I don't know, I look at everything. I look at the cameras they're using. I'm looking at the sound. I'm looking at the editing. So he's put some money behind this. So I can't hate him on that. He's invested in himself. Like I said, the Saratoga water's gone through the roof. 5 million January 25th. So he just took off. So I'm not gonna get out and hate him. I just didn't like that one post. I thought that was a lot, Ashton. But the fact that people are making the funniest memes and replaying. I saw Logan Paul did one acting like him. I've seen different comedians, different social media people doing it. I knew they were coming. Like, I was thinking of doing it, but I was like, by the time I get it together, there's going to be so many out there. I just said, let me just watch. And sure enough, they're everywhere. And that lets you know you're doing something right. Similar to Cat Williams went on Club Shay Shay, a podcast, and SNL was doing a spoof on it. So this is only going to help him even more. So he's at 9.3. Yeah. He'll be at 10 million by the end of the month. So he's doing his thing, man. I ain't going to be one to tell him stop doing it. Keep doing it. I applaud anybody that's out there trying to have people live healthier lifestyles. Whether if it's, you got to realize, social media to me is all fun and games. It's content. Do I think he gets up that early every morning? No, but I watched it a bunch of times, and I was looking at everything. I was like, oh, that's a cool apartment building. All right, okay. That breakfast looked tasty. I look at everything else going around, and then I'm like, all right, but yeah, I think he's getting a lot of hate for no reason. But it's just, it's good content. It's good. It's positive, nothing negative. So I'm not going to be here and hating on the guy. All right. Last thing, talk about a segue. I read something, and this is what kills me about the internet too. I read something where it said farting helps reduce high blood pressure. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So let me look it up. Farting reduces high blood pressure. While the idea of farting reduces high blood pressure might sound unusual, research suggests that hydrogen sulfide, a gas found in flatulence, farting, can help relax blood vessels and lower blood pressure. Oh, in mice, potentially into future treatments for hypertension in humans. So, hey, keep farting. I don't like the nasty ones. I don't like the silent ones, but yeah, if that's going to help you lower your blood pressure, hey, let's keep lowering our blood pressure. Let's keep busting ass. What? Mice, it's got to suck to be a mouse because they get researched everything. They get the shots if we're going to try to cure cancer, cure AIDS. Does farting reduce high blood pressure? Mice with fucking, God, we don't give a shit about mice. They get the worst. So the mice were subject to high blood pressures comparable to serious hypertension in humans. Scientists had them respond to a chemical called, I don't know what it's called, methicillin that relaxes normal blood vessels. The blood vessels of the CSE lacking mice hardly relaxed, indicating that hydrogen sulfide is a huge contender for regulating blood pressure. Hydrogen sulfide is the most recently discovered member of a family of gastrotransmitters, small molecules inside our bodies with important physiological functions. So yeah, let's keep busting ass out there, baby. Let's keep busting. All right? I be reading stuff on social media and just be believing it. I just be like, I read and I go, oh yeah. You know, this is what all couples should do. This is why you travel with toddlers. No. You don't look at me. As a guy with twins that are under 2, I'm not going to play with them boys till they're 4. Unless we're flying private. But man, that last flight about did me in. And then I read all this stuff on social media. You should travel more with your toddlers. They fly free before 2. And hotels don't charge you anything extra. And all these other perks. I go, nah, but you got to still deal with them. You got to hold them. 2-year-olds don't want to be stuck in an airplane seat all day. They want to move. They want to yell. They want to scream. So I'm not going to put people through that. So unless it's an emergency, my boys won't see a plane until they're 4, unless it's private. We'll just drive the places. But yeah, and honestly, the boys, they don't want to break their routines. They like to get up at this stage. They want to eat right here. They want to go here, right here. We got enough we can see around Texas, Louisiana. We might drive up to Oklahoma or something, but that's it. My boys will not be world travelers till they're 4. I'm not putting other people through that. So you can thank me if you see me on a plane. So, all right, y'all. Well, yeah. This was a fun one. So Cain Velasquez, I salute you, bro. You're a hero. You did what any dad would do. Ashton, let me make sure I get the name right. Ashton Hall, keep motivating people, man. You know, hey, didn't like the one post. That was that you ain't nobody perfect. You trying to get people to be perfect. Come on now, and let's be honest. Abs, a lot of it comes from genetics. We don't talk about that enough. There's some people that can eat perfect, do 1,000 sit-ups, and still wouldn't have abs like you got, Ashton. So you need to thank your mama and your daddy. And all my boys got abs. You're welcome, boys. Daddy had a couple of them, but I don't know. Yeah. Mother Skunt, Virgin Islands. And watch The Pit on HBO Max. And don't forget, farting helps reduce high blood pressure. Farting is just funny. It's one of the funniest things we do as humans. You can't tell me you hear a fart, you don't laugh. Come on now. They're funny. And there's big ones, there's small ones, there's loud ones, there's smelly ones, there's non-smelly ones. You know, and I'll tell you this, dads, if you got a daughter, teach them how to fart. Keep them boys away. My daughter, every time she burped and farted, I just laughed. I never told her, why'd you do that? I never said, oh my God, that's disgusting. I was like, yeah, keep doing that shit, baby girl. Yeah. If you got a girl, fellas, let them know you're allowed to fart in this house. You fart in school. You fart in church. You want to fart? It helps lower your blood pressure. And I don't think too many dudes are trying to holler at a chick busting ass all day. All right. So little parenting tip from Gary to the guys out there. If you got a daughter, keep telling her to bust ass. All right. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast. Keep busting.
motherfucker Gary.